Welcome back to another week here at Side Hustles by Soens. I'm Juan Carlos Enriquez.
And I'm Heidi So, and together we are Soens.
Thank you for joining us here today for the next topic that is going to be why we believe that El Paso is such a great city to invest um, on Airbnb. So before we get started, we wanted to give you the first point, which is there's a great mixture of short-term rentals and long-terms. So number one, short-term rentals have an is a there's an abundance of demand in El Paso, Texas. Not recently, but it's been always. Why is this?
Why is there a demand for?
Short-term rentals in El Paso, Texas.
Well, we have Fort Bliss. There's the base, right? A lot of military families come, either soldiers or visiting family that they have. And then there's also traveling professionals. Even before COVID, there have always been traveling nurses coming to El Paso. It's just part of the journey here in as a traveling nurse that they just get to choose where to go. And El Paso is very inexpensive for living expenses because the minimum wage is so low. Well, not so low, but it's just federal minimum wage. So that also makes the living expenses not as expensive.
That's number four.
Ah, that's okay. We don't have to go in order. But I think that's why there's like big demand because, for example, I'm able to lease my fully furnished apartment for probably half the price that you will get it in, or maybe a third of the price where you will pay in North Carolina, Florida, California. I mean, outside, even just outside of El Paso, if you go Houston, San Antonio, I mean, you're paying way more for a monthly or a long-term stay than than if you end up just leasing. This is the thing, though. For traveling professionals, they're always looking for furnished places. They either go through Airbnb or they go through Furnish Finder. But the reason they do this is because they're only here for 13 weeks. So who's gonna actually go out and lease just a regular apartment? First, the rent's gonna be higher because you're only doing 3 months. Secondly, you have to furnish the entire thing, and then once you leave, well, what do you do with all the furnishing? So that's why they always prefer to pay a little extra, but that way they don't have to pay for furniture or getting it shipped out here or anything like that. Now, if they opt out for doing it through Airbnb, then they don't even have to pay any utilities or a Wi-Fi, anything. I mean, everything's already going to be included and they don't have to pay for anything. So it's a win-win, definitely. But obviously, you have to market your place at a good price, so people. I mean, so you will always be constantly booked. So
Yes, and then these traveling professionals, they're year-round. There's no seasons to it, so there is a constant demand of short-term rentals with furnished listings. So going into number two, there's seasonal demand. Seasonal demand. So on winter or there's a break, there's high demand for people coming back to El Paso for the
holidays.
holidays.
So usually Thanksgiving, Christmas time, we'll get people coming out from. They live probably in Dallas, Austin. I mean, they're from El Paso. Their family is here, and they just come back home for the holidays. Now, obviously, if you come back home from the holidays, you'll stay with your parents. But then there's some people that they don't want to stay with their parents
But they
anymore.
have a family already, and it's
Exactly,
not.
or they're already married with kids, so they ended up just booking a home with us for the holidays. Now, this year was definitely different. I mean, I think no one came home for the holidays, but we didn't see less occupancy because we still had all the traveling nurses staying here. So I remember I had traveling nurses everywhere staying here for Christmas, and I just felt so bad that they couldn't go back home for Christmas. And I remember we actually gave them each a stocking filled with dulce de leche from Nuestra Nostalgia. Just like a little treat, for them to feel welcome. We also decorated all of our Airbnbs with Christmas trees and Christmas spirit. And everybody thanked me. They were all so grateful because they were living in a hotel. Probably you don't get any sort of Christmas feeling. You're staying away from home, and then once they're able to be here, and I mean, you're staying at an Airbnb, and the whole point is that you feel home away from home. So I
I
was
see.
able to do that, just add that little piece of Christmas joy for all the traveling professionals that were staying with us. And I think we had a full house too that time. So
Hmm.
it was like 16 stockings that we had to do. But it was great. I mean, it was great. We were really happy to do that for our tenants, for our Airbnb guests.
And then, okay, so location. El Paso. It's, I mean, it's between the east and the west coast. So,
The another thing that I wanted to add was the with the seasonal. Right now, well, before COVID, we're here in downtown, so a lot of people came for the Chihuahuas games, and that was like a thing that was happening. During COVID, nothing happened because everyone was shut down. Now, I think yesterday was the opening night. Um, it was packed. Everybody was here. Everybody was having a great time, and it feels like it's coming back like the whole Chihuahua Stadium too. So for us, that's some sort of seasonal because we're here in downtown, right? But um, and we're right behind the baseball stadium. So I mean that's a good thing too. That now that we have the games back and all that stuff, that will happen, and it will make it also having those maybe like 2 night or single nights stay for short term, not just long term.
yeah, so going back into number three, so it is location. So we're between the east coast and the west coast. So there's a large space between the largest city to the east and the large city to the west. So El Paso makes a great night stop, so rest stop. So how much people do you get that are actually staying for just 1 day, 2 days, just to rest the driving distance between the two sites?
Well, I would say before COVID, probably like 60% of maybe even higher, like 75% were actually out of towners. They would just stop by and probably stay. Well, initially I would allow 1 night stays. So they would just do 1 night and then take off. Most likely now I do 2 night minimum, and only one room I have that I have 1 night stays. But the thing is that obviously we realized that when everything was shut down and all those people that were actually coming from out of town were the ones canceling their time that they were going to stay here. So I hate it right now because I'm at 100% occupancy. So I really don't have anything I can offer those travelers, or just 1 night stays, 2 night stays. Like I don't have anything readily available for them, and that's why we're looking to see how we can make it so how we can get some more. um because it's just been a blessing in disguise, this pandemic, I would say.
Yeah, fully booked.
Yeah.
So there's two airports. They're not major. They're significant. El Paso, Texas has an airport, and just across the border we have Juarez, the Abraham Chavez, is it
Yeah.
the airport. So there's a lot of traveling, and then they need somewhere to maybe transfer or someone to stay just a night for one to go to the other airport. So that's um, some guests that actually looking for Airbnb and they looking for a furnished apartment. So going into number four, El Paso is regarded as one of the most affordable cities in Texas. This is due to low property values still, even though there's right now a huge demand for houses. Still, it's life is affordable, and everything that goes around the living expenses it's low, and still El Paso is like regarded as the largest small city in Texas. So you still have a lot of amenities that you don't have like in a smaller city. So this is a great thing. So buying low and renting high.
I think also buying low, right? But if you're gonna do Airbnb, there's a certain standard that you have to give. It's not just, oh, I'm gonna furnish this, there's a bed there, and that's it. I mean, that's what I hate when people just wanna put heads in beds. They're like, oh, I'm gonna put four air mattresses here and everybody's gonna sleep here. And it's like, uh you know, I understand that there's some people that they don't care and they just need like a cheap place to stay, but Airbnb has
But they
the,
usually have the most complaints.
yeah, I would say especially the people that want to spend the least end up complaining more. For some reason they think that what they're paying gets them entitled to what you would pay at a five-star hotel. um so but there's those like just those things that we don't really go by. We don't do heads in beds. We actually just make sure that it's a good living condition, everything's good to go, and that you will be comfortable if you're staying for a day or if you're staying for a month. That's our main goal. And obviously making sure all the amenities are there. If we love to do our forget basket, where we do like a sort of a concierge, um, way, but obviously we're not 24/7. So we already provide what we would think you probably will need from us. And we leave this forget basket with extra toothbrushes, toothpaste.
Quality.
Yeah, I
It's a
mean, all
quality stay.
different amenities or toiletries that you could probably need. And not everybody does that. Not everybody does that. But when you go at a hotel and you call the concierge and you're like, hey, you know what? I forgot. Do you have an extra toothbrush? Oh yeah, we have some disposable. Like they have like those cheap ones, and that's fine. I mean, it's gonna get you out of the hurdle, and that's the whole point. I mean, we don't do, oh, it's so fancy, Colgate, or I don't know what, like brand names, but Colgate sponsor this video. We don't do like brand names or anything like that, but we just try to get you out of that situation where you will save you a trip to the drugstore or to Walmart if we can. Um, Walmart.
And besides when you get to the Airbnb is usually at night, and sometimes I mean for us when we're traveling we end up like getting into the Airbnb or where we're gonna be staying like at 10 p.m. and then sometimes at 9, and even though we just unpack or we just get refreshed I guess, or we just go to the bathroom, take a break, and then we go out on we're hungry. We You know what? I need I forgot my toothpaste. Whatever it is, but I mean it's already everything is
Super late.
closed. So unless it is a big city, there's some places that are still open, but not usually.
So that's the thing about that point. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, so number going into number five. So Texas, this is about ordinance. Texas has no ordinance in short-term rental fees or licenses. Uh, Texas does not block to for you to rent your house that you own all year long, just like California. You have to be. I mean, if you can, Heidi, you wanna?
Jump in.
Yeah, you jump in.
So that's why I love Texas. Texas does what Texas wants. And yeah, for some people it might be bad, employees or we want to raise the minimum wage or stuff like that. That's fine. I mean, I get it. For our business in Airbnb, it's been a good thing because they tried back in Austin. They tried to get um, the same thing like California, where you can't do a short-term rental all year
On your
long.
house.
You have to live there in order for you to do short-term rental half of the year. And then Texas was like, no, it's your house. You can do whatever you want with your house. It's your property. You can do whatever you want with your property. And we're not going to tell you what you can and can't do. So obviously, the people that wanted to get this passed was because, well, Austin and Houston, those are like bigger cities, right? So you have more party people and all that stuff. And these are, cookie cutter neighborhoods, and people, they don't want that sort of, environment. But it's usually just people complaining about things they
And
want to complain.
and the other thing is that there's a lot of lobbying from big hotel chains because
Mm,
if there's
yeah.
competition without the regulation, and then okay, you know what? I mean, we're competing against unfair ground. So
Hmm.
they just give money to their lobbyists, and then they go into the city, and then they try to push this their agenda. Uh, so the good thing is that the Supreme Court overturned that ruling in Austin, and then but there's still some other cities that they're trying to push these ordinances. I was just aware this week for like Farmers Branch, they came out that you have to have a short-term license, so therefore you have to be really careful on what you do. But the thing is that Texas overturned the whatever was Austin doing. So make sure that you read thoroughly and make sure that you
Yeah,
make the
always check
decision.
with your city and always check with your state. Well, I could give an example. In North Carolina, there's some cities that require that. We opened up in Fayetteville, and Fayetteville doesn't have anything. So that's fine. There's no permit. I mean, the permit's not expensive. It's probably going to be like, I don't know, $150. It's not like the end of the world. You're going to get way more out of, your Airbnb. But it's just checking up with your own state, with your city laws and all that city permits, just so that you don't have that, feeling that you might get in trouble. But Texas, it's a great place to be. I love Texas. Um, and we're here in El Paso, and nothing has been, city ordained or anything like that for short-term rental still. And I don't think that they will. I mean, it's not something. We don't get complaints. We don't get, crazy people, or it's not a tourist, city. It's more of a home, or you're just passing through, and or you're here because you're working. So I don't see the reason why they would do something like that in El Paso, and that's why it's so great to have your Airbnbs in El Paso, because first you're gonna get, like my husband mentioned, it's cheaper to buy, the labor is cheaper too, because you're here and you're in a border town, so everything's gonna be less expensive. And then obviously once you make it Airbnb and make it this, you hire me, right, to to make it Airbnb to my standard, the money you're gonna get in return, it's gonna be way higher than any sort of long-term um, lease that you could probably get. I mean, it's probably twice or three times what you would get from a regular um, unfurnished apartment. And And for me, like my studios, like if I were not to have anything in there, no utilities, no Wi-Fi, and no furnishing, you're looking about, I could probably lease them per month like at $500 because it's just a studio apartment. It's a 450 square feet. That's it, right? So $500 per month, right? And then they have to pay their utilities and they have to pay their internet and all that stuff. Now I probably get, with it being furnished, with it being with the Wi-Fi, and with it being the utilities included, I get around 1,200 to 1,500, actually more, between 1,200 to 2,000, depending on how pretty I make it. um,
Or how often it gets rented within the month.
mhm. So, I mean, the what you make, it's much higher than if you would just leave it as is. Now, the reason we like Airbnb, it's because you have more control of your property. You have more control of maintenance, you have more control of taking care of it and making sure that it lasts you longer than anything. If you just leave a tenant in there and they do whatever the hell they want and something happens, they don't let you know. See, for Airbnb, they'll let you know immediately because they don't want to get in trouble thinking, they don't want you to think that they did that damage. And also because they're paying for a stay much higher price, so they want that quality back. And we do turnarounds quickly because we would do the same thing. I mean, if I'm staying here and I'm paying $1,200 or $1,500 per month, and then the AC is not working, I mean, well, it's El Paso.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that. Hey,
So we try to get everything, fixed, or if we can't, we always take a portable fan, a swamp cooler, or something that we can make it work while the AC guy will be out there and fixing the mini split or anything. But that's something that it's part of our side hustle. I would say it's part of like that working to make it better. And and I mean it's really great, I guess, having that peace of mind that I'm not breaking any rules with the city, that everything's fine, that Texas is on our side. And the reason we're doing this live today and talking about how great El Paso is for Airbnb, we have so many friends out there that they're not living in El Paso anymore, but they have means, the ways and means to maybe get a property, maybe buy a multi-home, or make it a multi-home. I mean, there's so many things that there's so much potential in El Paso, and we want you to come back. And maybe you don't have to live here, but you can come back and make this economy better, this city grow. And that's our main goal here. We're trying to get more people to come to El Paso, not to live if they don't want to, but to invest in our city because there's so much potential that we can get out of El Paso still. Amazon's about to, maybe at the end of the year, they'll be finished with their distribution center. That's going to bring a lot of jobs. That's going to bring a lot of, income to El Paso. It's going to grow. It's going to get better. The Chihuahua Stadium, it's getting back out there. We're going to have more visitors. Soon they're going to start the arena here in downtown. And all of those things, they just make El Paso better. But get into the market now. Get into the market now because that's when you can buy low and then Airbnb at a much higher profit. I mean, you don't have to wait until you're 60 to start figuring out your retirement. I mean, this is what could give you that passive income for the rest of your life. And I mean, if you just hire the right people, which is us, um, I mean, we'll be working with you, along with you. We'll be happy to help you along the way until you are able to take those training wheels out. And if you always want us to help you, we'll be happy to do so. But it's not like we're trying to oh, I want you to hire me or I want your money. No, it's just I really want El Paso to grow and I want El Paso to have more of Airbnb because it's there's just so much demand and I just wish I could have
The thing is that
more.
she has rants about why she doesn't have more properties to get guests. Because I mean, she has a lot of people are requesting where to stay, and we don't have a way to put them somewhere because we already
Yeah,
right
we're
now we're
100%
trying to
occupancy.
rent the place that we're living in while we're away because there's people that need somewhere to stay, and that's the way that we can make it work.
I think that that's a good point that you say because it's see, I have people asking me, they're like, oh, okay, so I have to buy a new property and get it there and do it. And I'm like, not necessarily. I mean, you can do it that way and you get more profit out of it, but you have to invest first. Now, on my way, I don't care. I mean, I don't care if someone's sleeping in my bed and they're going to sleep there for a couple of nights. I'm not going to be here. So
We're gonna
we're
wash.
gonna be in Playa del Carmen, so it's gonna be like, I'm over there, and I can definitely rent my place just for a couple of nights. Obviously we live there, so I do state that within my Airbnb listings. Like my stuff will be here, my everything will be here. My pictures on the wall, I'm not gonna remove my life because you're gonna stay here for a night or 2 nights. So but it's just a way that I've been getting so many bookings and people just asking me, hey, I thought it was so funny because he's like, so we want to go for the game for the Chihuahuas, but I see that you don't have anything available at the Union Plaza apartments. Is that right? Or am I like doing it wrong? And I'm like, no,
We're fully
that's
booked.
right. Like, I don't have I'm 100% occupancy right now, but this is what I'll do. I'm actually gonna list my apartment for you to stay here with your family. I'm not gonna be here regardless. I'm gonna be out of town. So let me list it and then you can book it. So I listed it for him because he's the one that was looking to. I mean, they love the place, they love the location. It's right behind the baseball stadium for them. It's a perfect place to bring
And the
their
thing is
family
that
and not have to worry about anything else.
customers come back if they like what
He's
they have.
he's already been here for like five times before COVID. He would always come for the baseball stadium. They live in Las Cruces, and he would come with his family, and they would stay here, and they would go to the Chihuahuas baseball game. And it's just a way for them to, leave for a little bit, just for a weekend. They just stay a night outside. They have their kids, right? They bring their girls with them, and it's a fun experience for them. I mean, it's just a 40-minute drive, but if you can stay here, not
Yeah.
have to drive afterwards, why not?
Oh, that's sweet. And the thing is that here in downtown El Paso, where we have the apartments, it is a great. Well, before COVID, it was a great place to go seek or to see around, to take pictures. So it is a nice
It
place
was
to.
declared as the entertainment district, which is not right now. Like there's no more clubs or bars or anything open. But before COVID, it was the entertainment district because of the whole. There was a lot of uh, bars open. There were a lot of the baseball, the events that were happening. So there was a lot of noise traffic. Um, and obviously I would always state it in my listing, hey, it's not going to be quiet. If you want to come here for a quiet time, then this is not your place. You have to go to a neighborhood. You can't stay in downtown. I think it's so funny. One time I had this girl and she stayed in Halloween weekend. Halloween, okay? And then they closed the street because they were doing some sort of event, and with I think it was with the Dead Beach Brewery, and it was just like a whole thing, and it was so fun, and people were so happy that this was happening. Turns out that they weren't, right? So they come here and they're like, oh, um, then they leave me this review. They never told me anything. And then they leave me this crappy review saying that it was so loud and she felt like she was back in Taiwan, with all the noise, and that she called the cops on people because it was 2 a.m. and they were still making noise outside. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I get it. Like, it's 2 a.m. and you want to sleep, but then don't book a place in downtown where I specifically say, you know, there's gonna be
Entertainment.
stuff going on. This is downtown. You can't expect to keep like nice and quiet. If you want that, this isn't the place for you. So why the hell would you book a place and not read anything that I put there, and then blame me, or I guess not blame me, but
Well, she did because she gave you the review,
well,
no?
yeah, but like, harm me in my review is stating that, there was just so much loud, and I replied to her review, and I was like, you know what? Then you shouldn't have stayed here during Halloween weekend, and you should have read my listing because it states there that this is the entertainment district. So you're staying in a Halloween weekend, like literally it was Halloween, and it was like on a Saturday. So I already I'm sidetracked, but anyways.
Yeah, but I mean, from we learned from that lesson. So right now, what we do is if people are staying within those, I guess, entertainment days, so we let them know. Okay, so you booked the on this weekend. You know that there's gonna be going
Events,
events
something
going
going
on,
on.
or there's gonna be a game around. Whether if it's good for you, if it's bad for you, there's gonna be a lot of people. There's gonna be noise. So just beforehand, before they come here, they have the chance to cancel whether they want something like peaceful, so to look somewhere else. But if they need something more entertaining, like, oh, here is a place.
Which wasn't it during this year, right? I,
No,
I
it's
had I
been
had
chill.
actually a lot of people asking me, why is it so quiet? Why is it so quiet? Why isn't anything going on? And then I had a right now we have some long term staying in Airbnb, and they're like, so we went out last night and everything was closed. There was nothing open. Why is nothing open? And I'm like, COVID hit hard, guys. Like a lot of the restaurants couldn't survive. A lot of the bars have been closed for I don't know how long. So it's like,
The thing is that most of the restaurants that were doing okay here in downtown, they were already doing somewhat good or bad because the only clientele that were coming is the offices. So let's say we have a restaurant down, which is La Tabla, so they have a lot of office lunches and that sort of thing. But once COVID hit, there was
the
all
offices were
remote,
gone.
yes, all remote working. So they didn't have, so they have to. We noticed that they were doing what is it, grocery
Yeah,
deliveries,
Union Plaza,
but
Bodega.
they didn't withstand it. There's the Dead Brewery, so it was they had it tough as well. We know that they do make a lot of money from the, I guess, sales of their their
Their
their
brewery.
drinks. Their drinks.
But so that was the only thing. It obviously location. It all depends, where you get your property and what's around it. This is just examples that I sidetrack and I start talking about my reviews and all that stuff. And I mean, again, this was like, I don't know, maybe this was like 3 years ago when I got that review, but I haven't forgotten it. I remember,
And then we had to
because
learn
I
from it.
I do exactly because we learned from it. Because I learned from the, I make sure that, hey, if you're coming for peace and quiet, this isn't your place. I have another place that you can probably go there, and it's gonna be peace and quiet the entire time. This isn't the scene. Obviously, it's changed during COVID, but now that it's coming back up, I mean, it's gonna be fun, and there's so many things that are gonna start happening, and we're really excited about it. One of the things that's also starting to happening more are weddings here at the Union Plaza Loft. So if you guys want to have your event or have something downtown, which is awesome, you're always welcome to send me a message and we can always figure something out. So you guys can have your event, your wedding, anything here in downtown. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And what else?
So I guess to recap, so number one, there's a good combination of short-term rentals, I guess long and short, and there's this has been always here. It's for Bliss, traveling professionals, traveling nurses. The second one is seasonal. There's a lot of people that come here within the break months, the winter break, the summer break, so they come and visit their home, and sometimes they bring their family, so they need a bigger place furnished. Number three, location, location, location. We're a rest stop between the east and the west coast. We also have two airports, just across the border, Juarez, and here in El Paso we have two airports. Number four, low property values. So El Paso is one of the most affordable places to live in Texas. And you can look at, there's a couple of websites that indicate this. So there's low property values still, and there's a way to make a high profit from them. Number five, there's no short-term rental ordinances, fees, or licenses here in El Paso, and is protected by
Texas
the
government.
Texas government. So that's the recap for our
Sure.
why El Paso is a great place to start your Airbnb investment. So without further ado, I mean, we can say goodbye, and then please share, comment, give us
Like,
a like us,
and
and
share with your
also
friends,
share
and
with
share
your
with your
friends.
friends, and maybe, maybe you got some friends that are looking into doing an investment
Or they have already
property,
a
or
property,
yeah.
or they have a room, so they want to put it on Airbnb, and let us help them, or
Hmm.
let us help her.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be fun, and thank you so much for tuning in another week with us here at Soens. Let us know if there's anything, any topic that you would like us to, any topic, eh? Any topic,
Any topic.
any topic that you would like us to talk about, or if you would like to be part of your side hustles by Soens, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. So follow us at Made by Soens. That's how we are in all of our social media handles. We also have EP Texas Airbnb for any Airbnb consultation that you would like to have. And we have our
Website.
website, which is soens.com, and my email it's heidi@soens.com. So we're really excited to talk to you guys and see if we can, work together and bring more opportunities and potential, and just take advantage of all the potential El Paso has for us. So again, this was Side Hustles by Soens, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.